friends, welcome. Happy almost St. Patrick's Day. It's Deb from Bowl Me Over, and we're back in my kitchen today. I thought we'd cook up a classic St. Patrick's Day recipe, and that is corned beef and cabbage. And it's one of my favorite recipes. I don't know why it's only made a couple of times a year, usually for a lot of people, maybe just once a year, but I'm convinced this can be a year-round meal, but it's a lot easier in the slow cooker. So let me show you how that's done. Let's start with what we're going to need for today's recipe, and that is an onion. We're going to use some potatoes. I'm using baby red, but you could use russets, you could use Yukon Gold, doesn't matter. Peel them, not peel them, totally your decision. I'm going to peel them today, just a heads up. We're going to have some carrots, a cabbage, head of cabbage, and corned beef. There's a couple of different kinds. In fact, let me talk about a couple of things real quick. The cabbage, it's going to have some leaves on the outside. Just peel those off. It always looks like that. There's always a few that are not the prettiest things. So just peel that off. And then when we take a quick break, I'm going to wash the cabbage too. So we're going to discard these leaves. Okay. And then corned beef. When you buy corned beef in the store, it's going to be in a package like this. It's going to show brine, and it's going to show a little seasoning packet. And you want to keep both of those. So also, when you go to buy corned beef, there's going to be a flat cut, and I think the other is an end cut. I like the flat cut. It's thicker. It's a little bit better for sandwiches. Big fan of corned beef sandwiches. So just a heads up, you'll see that when you come to the grocery store too. If you can afford to, now is a great time to buy an extra one, throw it in the freezer. It'll last 6 months in the freezer. And the reason you want to buy it now, this is normally $24, $24.81, and I got it for $15. So buy it while it's on sale, throw it in the freezer, use it down the road. You'll already have something yummy for the future. Anyway, okay. So what I'm going to do next is, you just hang with me real quick, but I'm going to wash my potatoes and my cabbage. Can't think this morning. It's early. You see, it's like the sun just came up. Got to get my corned beef in the slow cooker. And then I'm going to take this out of the package. I'm going to save the brine. I'm going to save the seasoning packet. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so we're ready to go. I'm going to start with my onion. And what we're going to do, we just need to slice the onion. And we're going to lay it on the bottom of our slow cooker. So I sliced it in half. I'm going to peel off the top layer. I'm going to set that aside, trying to get the skins where they don't get all over my board. And hang on a quick sec. You know me, I can't do two things at once. All right. So we're just going to slice this in thin slices. And we're going to kind of use it as a bed on the bottom of the slow cooker. And what that will do as it cooks is it's going to infuse the slow cooker with flavor. Super yummy. So that takes just a minute. And of course I have my helpers. Joe's around here somewhere too, but Sammy, you'll see him in the back. Okay, but before we start, we're going to spray our slow cooker with Pam. Perfect. And I forgot one thing. Hang on a minute. So again, we're just going to lay these slices on the bottom of the slow cooker to give it a bed, to give the roast a bed to rest on. And so just out of curiosity, did you guys ever do one of those tests to see, like where you came from? I have not personally, but my brother did one. And I come from a long line of Dohertys and McLagans and Cochrans and Corliss, and like, I think there'd be some Irish in there somewhere, right? I've always been told I was Irish. Yeah, not so much, like 3%. So that was a big disappointment. Oh well. So anyway, now we have our corned beef that goes in next. And you're going to see on this corned beef that there's going to be a couple of different, two different sides. The one corned beef is going to have, it's going to be really lean on this side. And there's a little barking, so sorry about that. It's going to be lean on this side, and there's going to be fat on the other side. We want the fat cap up. And the reason that we want the fat cap up is because as the corned beef cooks, the fat will slowly help keep the whole roast more moist. It just is a really nice way to continue to flavor the meat and help keep the meat more moist. So sorry about that. Let me just, thought I could do this with just the tongs, but not so much. So let me quickly put that in the crock pot. Okay, so there we go. We're going to save this off to the side. In just a sec, I'm going to wash my hands. But first, before I do that, since this is kind of gooey as well, I'm going to take my seasoning packet and put this in the... There's just too much goo here. Put that in my slow cooker. Take my seasoning packet and dump the seasoning all over the roast inside the slow cooker, because we want that in there. So another hand wash. I'll be right back. Okay. You know what I like about these type of meals is that they're so fast. They're so quick and easy to do. And the slow cooker does all the work for you. So that works out really well. So we have our roast, and I have peeled carrots. Peel or don't peel, that's totally up to you. And I'm cutting them in about 2-inch little slices here. And I'm just going to tuck those in wherever they fit best. You know, one of those days I thought the dogs will be good, right? Yeah, not so much. Story of my life. Okay, so next we have the potatoes. I think the hardest part about this is fitting everything in the crock pot. So again, this is one of those things where peel or don't peel, totally up to you. I'm going to peel the potatoes because I want it to be a little bit prettier presentation for you, but it has nothing to do with should you or shouldn't you. It's more about aesthetics. So I have, and I don't usually, when I peel, I don't usually make a big deal about getting all the peel off anyway. A little rustic is okay. So I'm going to cut these in about 2-inch little cubes there. And this is going to take a minute. So I'm going to finish this up, and we'll see in a couple. Okay, so next up, we have our carrots, our corned beef, onions, and potatoes in the crock pot. And see how nice that looks? I kind of left a spot in the middle, and that's where we're going to tuck our cabbage on top. And doesn't that look yummy? Oh, let's get this thing going. Okay, so we peeled off the leaves of the cabbage. I went ahead and washed the cabbage. The next thing we're going to do is slice it in half, and we have that core. We're going to go right down the middle of that core. See the core? Helps hold it together, which is great. So it makes it easy to go ahead and slice. And we're going to slice each one of these in half again. And let me see if you can see that here. I have this triangle, this little, I think it's it'll be 1/6 of the cabbage. And I have it sliced in half. I'm going to lay it on its side. And when you if you go just like that, right above the core, it slices the whole core out. Isn't that perfect? That way it's super easy to slice it out. You could go this way, but it's just so much more stable when you're cutting to cut that way. And we're going to have to push and squeeze to get this whole cabbage in there. And if we don't, that's okay too, because I can certainly use that for a salad later on. So let's do that next. Let's see. I'm going to have to arrange these, I think, like a puzzle piece to get them all in there. But even though we're squeezing it in, it's going to cook down. And when it cooks down, that won't be a problem at all. Okay, so let's do it this way. Just trying to keep that as stable as possible. All right. Sammy's on the ground and he's convinced he just got something because a piece of cabbage fell. And believe it or not, I think we're going to get most of this in there. I always put cabbage in my salads and things too. How about you? I always think that's really good flavoring. Okay. Oh my gosh, seems a little crazy, don't it? It's going to fit. I'm going to put the lid on and lock it on. It's going to be just fine. We have a couple of things left here to do, and then I'm going to put the lid on. And let me just clean this up. I can't stand. Let me just clean this up real quick so it's a little bit easier to see. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Now, if you were making homemade stock, you would save all that stuff I just tossed, because that would be a great starting for some stock. I'm not making that today, but you could also put it in a bag and throw it in the freezer for when you do make some stock. So just a little tip. Okay, so only a few things left, and that is the brine that we saved. That's going to go right into our crock pot, and that's going to help flavor this yummy meal. Perfect. We're going to also add 1.5 cups of water. And don't worry if you didn't get all the ingredients and such. I'm going to put them all below, so don't worry about that in the least. I'm going to add some water. Wonderful. I'm going to season this with a little salt and pepper. Some cranks on that. And here's my pepper, orange, of course. Actually, I think it's time for a new one. I'm the only person I know that routinely goes through their pepper grinder. Okay. And look at that. Lid fits just fine. Oh, you know what? I know what's the matter. You're going to laugh. Yep. I had my rack in the bottom of my slow cooker. Okay, let's take that off. And that will make it easier. Okay, yes. Imagine how easy that is. Okay, so I'm going to turn my slow cooker on and turn it on manual and on low and hit enter. Just like that. All the prep's done. We're going to go away. I'm going to have a beautiful day. I'm hoping to get out for a drive today. It's just so gorgeous. I always say that no one enjoys a sunny day like Oregonians. So anyway, I'll see you in about 6 to 8 hours. And by that time, this is going to smell amazing. Crockpot does all the work for you. If you want to wait real quick, there are some, if you want to do some scrolling, there are some amazing recipes on the blog for great Irish food. One of them is the corned beef and cabbage stew, which is unbelievable. I have an amazing Guinness beef stew. We have Irish soda bread, which we made online just the other day here. You'll enjoy that too. And there's a lamb stew. There's all kinds of great recipes. In fact, there is one blog post that has 50 plus St. Patrick's Day recipes. So there's good stuff there without a doubt. I'm going to let this cook. I'm going to clean up my workspace, and we'll see you in a few hours. Hey friends, welcome back. Hope you've had a wonderful day. Well, we've been out. We went for a drive. This has been cooking all day, and We came back in. It smells so good. So it is done now, and I went ahead and turned it off. So let's open it up and see. Okay, let's just pull that, get that a little closer. It smells fabulous in here. I think that's one of my favorite parts of slow cooking. Is just like it smells so good. The whole house. In fact, we came back. We had enough time. We took a nap. It was fabulous. Oh, oh goodness, goodness gracious. So let's start by, we have a lot of veggies here. So I'm going to see if I can, how successful I am pulling them out and keeping them intact. These pretty cabbages. See how tender they are? Oh, that's what we're looking for. And as I had mentioned, Mom and Dad are coming over for dinner here in a bit. And this will be an amazing dinner. Slow cooking is a great way to do brisket because it makes the meat nice and tender. Yum, yum, yum. And oh my goodness, you're just going to love that. That looks amazing. Okay, and we're going to pull out the carrots. When you are arranging these, if you can kind of group things together, it always looks really pretty on a platter. You don't have to, but it just looks really pretty. Makes a better impact. So that would be the next thing I have to do, is get all these veggies out. You know, I only ended up using, I think, 5 potatoes, but I think it was going to work out great to feed the 4 of us. They're smaller potatoes, but I, cut them up in nice little chunks. And I think that'll be perfect. Okay. Almost done here, almost to the main event. And so this begs the question, what do you like? Do you like corned beef sandwiches? I'll be getting some rye at the store tomorrow, I'm sure. Rye bread. That's one of my favorite things. Nothing like a good sandwich with leftovers. When I make pot roast, that's one of my favorites. Like, give me some leftover pot roast so I can make my sandwich with it. All right. I know we didn't make all carrots, so let me find some of the potatoes. Perfect. There's a few onions that are coming up in there. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Okay. So I'm going to take this and just seal it up nice and tight so it's still warm when Mom and Dad get here. All right. And I'm going to put this over here. And now we have that main event. And when I'm pulling that out, I went ahead and got this out for a couple of reasons. I have this red cutting board that I only use for meat. That way there's never any worry about cross-contamination, any of that stuff. So that's why it's there. And also because this is nice and juicy. See that little lines around the edge of this? That's going to help catch some of that juice. And that way it doesn't roll all over the counter and stuff too. And that looks perfect. There we go. I'll put that right here. And I'm going to take this, and anytime meat is like super hot, comes right out of the slow cooker like that, you want to let it rest, whether you're grilling, whether it's from the oven or from your slow cooker, because letting it rest is going to allow all the juices to redistribute. So I'm just going to tuck that on the top. I'm going to give it 10 minutes or so, and we'll be right back. I'll clean up the kitchen, and almost time for dinner. Okay, my friends, it's been about 10 minutes. I'm pretty excited. I don't know about you. We've let it rest, and do not worry about it getting cold. It's not going to get cold in that short period of time. It's lightly covered with foil, but it's going to add a ton of flavor. So nothing special. I'm just going to slice it across pretty thin. Oh, doesn't that look good? Had it in the slow cooker for 7.5 hours on low. And I think we did just perfect, don't you? Look at that. Can you see that? Doesn't that look amazing? Oh, love me some great food, that's for sure. Slicing it pretty thin, it's brisket, and that's going to help it be even more tender. And if you wanted it to be even a little extra juicy, you could put it on your pretty platter and then pour a little bit of the cooking liquid over top. In this instance, I use that cooking liquid really sparingly because it can be pretty salty. Doesn't mean it's not delicious, but it's pretty salty. And the corned beef is salty enough. So I just don't need that much extra sodium in my life. So if you enjoy that, fine. It also would be an option of using it for like a soup base. But again, sparingly. Like I would cut it half with water because it is salty. Just a thought. Okay. I think it's time for me to try just a little piece because I'll be eating dinner here. See how easy that just pulled apart? Oh, yum, yum, yum. And I can't just try that. I have to try my wonderful veggies too. I think one of my favorite things, I love cabbage. I might be weird. I love cabbage. I'll try just a little bit of everything here. And let me just seal that up again real tight. They should be here in less than 15 minutes, so we're going to be quick. Here's my little plate. Doesn't that look fabulous? Yes. Let's try this and see what we think. It's still pretty steamy hot. I don't even really need a sharp knife. Oh, goodness. Goodness. If you're making corned beef and cabbage, it's a recipe for you. The corned beef is so tender. It's like super simple. Cabbage is cooked perfectly. The potatoes are nice and soft. Probably just need a little butter, huh? I'm excited for dinner time. Hope you give it a try, and I think you will be too. Don't forget, follow me on the blog, www.bowlmeover.com, bowl-me-over.com. I do appreciate you joining me. Like and subscribe. And if you hit follow, you'll be notified when my videos drop. You'll get an email. I always do it's called a premiere. So it counts down. That way you'll get notified of that premiere. Have yourself a fabulous day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll see you soon, okay?